A big success. I had a lot of fun with it. Can everybody hear me okay? Tom, can you hear me out there? Anybody? I'm excited to have tonight to talk with all of you about what's going on in the world of Star Wars, Coffee with Kenobi, all kinds of stuff. I have found a lot of people are going live a lot more these days, obviously, with things going on. And I think that's great. I think it's really rewarding because then you can actually talk to and spend time with the creators, and it's just a lot more engaging. And I for one like hearing from people and seeing their faces. I think it's just a lot of fun to do that. So how are you spending your time kind of in this world of staying at home and getting the chance? Hey David, how's it going? Can everybody hear me okay? I got this microphone on right here, and I want to make sure that everybody can hear me just fine. I've got some fun things I'm able to do now with going live, which is really, really fun. So I'm looking forward to kind of doing those sort of things here. Yeah. So are you seeing sort of an orange border as well, which is really fun? Tom, loud and clear. Very good. Very good. There's a couple little random things you can do, but I'm kind of liking this one too because of the orange stuff. Okay, good. All right. So first things first, let's talk about the big news that came out this week. In my mind, the big news is Ashley Eckstein, but not Ashley Eckstein, right? We're talking about Ahsoka Tano being cast in The Mandalorian, right? Ahsoka Tano's going to be in The Mandalorian Season 2, which ordinarily would be monster news, and I think it is, but it sort of got overshadowed, at least for me. What does everybody else think about that? Good. Hey, Matthew, how's it going, man? David looks like he's doing some house projects. Cameron, I'm glad that it sounds good. The basketball in the background, Cameron, let's see. A couple of years ago, Illinois State University, which is the place where I went for my college degrees, they honored me at halftime of a men's basketball game, and that was the basketball they gave me during their Star Wars night, and then their head coach autographed it, and it says, Dan, thank you for your support. May the force be with you. So that was really cool. I did a video of that a couple years ago. It was pretty much a thrill to walk on halftime. Hey, LJ, how's it going? Very good. So I see people are weighing in about Ashley / not Ashley. So Rosario Dawson is going to be on as Ahsoka Tano. Just saying it out loud sounds weird to me. And that's great, I guess, to an extent. Because she's a great actress. I know that a lot of people really like her on the Marvel Netflix stuff. I mean, Corey and Jeff were talking about that. Lisa, I agree with you. I mean, she's fine. She's a good actress. But to me, Ashley Eckstein, maybe more than any character, is synonymous with the character she plays. I mean, the closest might be James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course, was played by Sir Alec Guinness in the films and was played by Ewan McGregor in the prequels. When it comes to the animated Obi-Wan, it's only Jad. You know, he's a legend. But Ashley Eckstein, she just put her heart and soul into Ahsoka and took this character that when she started, you know, people joked about, oh, this is Snips or whatever. And then she called Anakin Sky Guy and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. And after a while, it didn't really bother me because I just got used to the character and I love the relationship that Ahsoka had with Anakin. And I agree with you, Aaron. Ashley is Ahsoka. And Matthew says, I am excited for the casting choice of Mrs. Dawson. Dave Filoni knows what he's doing and has never steered us wrong. Well, that is absolutely true. And as with all things, I'm going to take a wait and see mentality on it because I think that's fair. I think we should wait and see. We don't know. We haven't seen anything. But I, like Tom, I agree that Ashley is Ahsoka. I mean, I would have liked to seen that happen. I mean, it won't happen in the future. I don't know. And yes, Kurt says, I get the decision as Dawson has more of an acting reputation, but I would much rather had Ashley get the role. Yes, I agree. That's how I feel too. I mean, now Ashley Eckstein did act in some live action stuff before she was Ahsoka Tano. And by the way, as you know, if you listen to my recent conversation with James Arnold Taylor, voice acting is acting. In fact, in many ways, it's sort of harder because you have to do everything with your voice. People can't see you. They can't see your eyes. They can't see the gestures that you're doing and things like that. It's really, really difficult. As I said when I was talking with James, it's kind of weird. Like when I'm talking to the camera, I have to tilt my head like this for me to be straight. So that'll be interesting to see how it goes after a little bit of time doing this. When I did the Target commercial, I was in a sound booth for an hour, and I just said 15 lines that I made up, and it was really hard, and I was having to replay myself, and and that was hard. So the emotion that Ahsoka, or that actually Eckstein shows with Ahsoka Tano, that's serious business. And I last week, before we watched the brand new episode of Clone Wars with Ahsoka, I made sure to show Mason the 4-episode arc where at the end of season 5, where Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order and how she's betrayed by all of them except for Anakin. And oh my gosh, it was devastating. I mean, it was so powerful and so well done. And then I showed Mason the first episode of, or the 5th episode of season 7, and she was pretty impressed by that, or he was pretty impressed by that. So it meant more. There was more context for that. So speaking of that, and it looks like if you're looking over at the comments, it looks like everybody, hello, Greg, how's it going? It seems like everybody pretty much feels the same way, that Ahsoka is Ashley Eckstein. But we agree that Dave knows what he's doing, and we'll take a wait and see attitude. All right. So changing gears, I want everybody to weigh in on what they think of the new episode that had Ahsoka come back. Of course, we've seen Ahsoka in Star Wars Rebels. Of course we have. And she was great in those. Absolutely great. But what did you think of her in this new episode? We haven't officially done hey, Brian, how's it going? Brian Doobie, who you may see over on the chat, he and I, when I worked at Disney, the second time I worked at Walt Disney World, he was one of my roommates, and he went with me to collect a lot of the Power of the Force figures. So be sure to tell Brian hello. Pretty cool. In fact, Brian posted something on our feed when he worked at Star Tours, which I thought was a pretty cool gig, obviously. So anyway, what do people think of the new episode? We haven't officially done a review yet. And since last week, the big news was we're going to do a daily show during what's going on. And we did, and it went beautifully. We had more downloads last week than we've ever had. We had a lot of response to a lot of the shows, and so it was really great. However, I know for me personally, like I'm behind on my podcast listening because I listen to them when I'm at the gym or when I'm driving. Well, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not going to the gym. I work out at home, but I listen to the DVDs of Tony Horton and P90X. So I don't listen to anything. So I'm behind. So I sort of feel almost like I've got a backlog of podcasting homework to listen to. And I don't want people to feel that way about Coffee with Kenobi. I want Coffee with Kenobi to be an escape for you. So I think what I'll do is and I said this online, I think we're just going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays. As far as when the new one comes out, that I won't know until we finally get a response from Tom on his text message. Tom is pretty much, obviously, my go-to guy. He's for the CWK newsman, naturally. But he's also the person that we've done the most reviews of Clone Wars together. And I just feel like, why not just keep it that way? Especially if we're going to go to twice a week. Tom's awesome, and we have great chemistry, just like with Corey, of course. So I think that's really important. I'm using a different program, which is why you're getting some of the things going on the feed. And I'm interested to see, I've got a little bit of extra stuff going on here. Let's see. Maybe not. All right. Just kind of experimenting while we're playing. That's good stuff, right? Can someone let me know, is there anything scrolling across the bottom or on the sides of the screen at all while you're doing this? Because I'm looking at it from a different way than you are. I'm interested to see what you think. Anyway, so this episode of Clone Wars, Ahsoka's debut, personally, I thought the animation was gorgeous. The story was fine. I mean, there really wasn't much to it. It really was just a setup story, to be honest. And there's a great line that I'm going to talk about when we actually review the show on the podcast that I really liked a lot. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I typically get to see these a little bit earlier, so I'm looking forward to very, very soon seeing what the next part of this arc is. But it's just great to see Ahsoka back, and the fighting stuff is really cool. Hey, Logan, how's it going? Logan is one of my former students. Whoa, all of a sudden I'm getting like a barrage of comments. I don't know if my things went down or what. Tom is blushing. All right, I'm going to scroll through your comments and see what everybody says. Logan, it's great to see you. Yes, it was a nice opening for the arc, Greg. I agree. Cameron says Loth Cats. I thought that was cool too. In fact, Mason said, "Oh, did you see the Loth Cats?" Like, of course I did. Ahsoka and Trace's combo about the Jedi was great. Everything else was I think it'll be great to watch this in a binge with the whole arc. Cameron, I agree with you. David, yes, I agree. It was a setup. LJ says the new episode felt a little bit off. That's fair. Some of the comedy felt a little Resistance-esque. Well, I didn't get that. In fact, I like Resistance. I don't know if we've talked about that very much, at least recently, but I liked it. And I'm kind of figuring out what I think I'm going to grade this one, but I'm going to say that again for the show itself. There's nothing scrolling on the scene. Okay, well that's good to know. That's something I can work on and try to figure out a little bit on my end. So it seems like everybody's kind of but I tell you what, this on the comments, let me know your letter grade for the new one. Maybe we'll do sort of like an average sort of a thing as far as what do we think the average is going to be. By the way, I do have some fun news to announce. My oldest and I did a video in the studio. Just kind of a quick peek of what's going on in the world of Coffee with Kenobi in the studio. So that's going to be showing up very, very soon. In fact, I'm really excited for that. It's going to be, it basically shows, well, it shows sort of a glimpse of everything that goes on down here and hopefully gives you sort of a context of how I've got things organized and decorated. And that is coming very, very soon. Speaking of my collection, in our Patreon page for $5 a month, obviously you get access to CWK Pour Over, which is our weekly show, which we've talked about for a long time. We just had our 100th episode. We certainly missed Tom. He wasn't able to join us, but Corey and I talked about what 100 episodes means. And then we talked a lot about celebration and what we think an ideal celebration would be for us as far as the overall, this says, I'm sorry, now I'm reading on the comments. But through this program, I get the comments either all at once or not at all, which is sort of random. Looks normal. Comments on the bottom left. Nothing really scrolling. I've been okay. Okay. Aaron, give Resistance more of a chance. It may seem juvenile, but it's actually pretty cool. And then there's something to do with what happens at the end of The Force Awakens in the end of season 1 of Resistance, and it's very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So it looks like we're getting some B's, B minuses, things like that. While we're all chatting, I'm going to see what it looks like on the actual feed on Facebook and see if I can see the comments that way. Maybe I can see them a little bit quicker. Not really sure. Okay, I wonder what I'm going to do a random thing here. I'm going to see how much of a delay there is. Oh boy, it's nice that I'm able to amuse myself like that. All right, very good. So here's the thing. Yeah, David says Resistance gets more serious as it goes along, and that's absolutely true. Get out, Ryan Donho. Is Ryan here? That'd be fun. Let's talk about Celebration. All right. I think the elephant in the room is what is going to happen with Celebration. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with Celebration? I mean, honestly, and I have no inside information on this. I wish that I did, but I don't. I think this is March. And I think Celebration is at the end of August, the very end of August. It's quite a few months, days away. You know, all of April, all of May, all of June, all of July, and all of August. So we're talking 5 months. I think it's way too early to know what is going to happen at the end of August. So, I mean, I've still got my Celebration hotel ready. I'm still checking flights through MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And I am making sure to plan like I normally would for Celebration. Now, I suppose it's different when you're covering it, But in a way, it's not, because you're going there for an experience. You're going there to see your friends. You're going there to hang out with everybody. And you want to buy cool exclusives. You want to make it into all of the panels, which of course you'll do through the registration lottery thing. And I agree with Corey, what we talked about on Pour Over, that it would be nice to have sort of a I'm laughing at the comments. It'd be nice to have a way to sort of weigh what your preferences are, so you're guaranteed at least one panel. Like, personally, I think it's fair. Like, if you're guaranteed one major panel, you can kind of weigh, and then you just sort of see what happens. You just sort of weigh. Otherwise, and in other words, it wouldn't be fair for someone to get access to all the panels, the headliners, and then someone else not being able to. Yeah. So as far as postponing it, Aaron, it's I think it's the last 4 days of August. Aaron, can you hide in my luggage? No, I don't think so. Postpone. I don't know. Dave says he got VIP tickets. Oh, well, I hope it's not canceled just for that alone, because you deserve that, Dave. That would be a really, really cool thing to experience. Personally, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I don't want it to be canceled. I mean, in addition to different ideas we've got for Coffee with Kenobi, there's other things that are going on at Celebration that I'm not allowed to talk about just yet, that are very exciting and involve some really, really cool Star Wars members of the community. And then we've also got exciting things going on for things that I've proposed, or the things that I have been asked to be a part of. So definitely fingers crossed on all of those things. Who is going to Celebration as it stands right now? Anybody know who's going to, if any of you are going to go to Celebration? Or, I mean, I guess you would know if you're going to Celebration because you're the ones who bought the tickets. But where do you stand on it as far as how are you planning it? How are you promoting? How are you getting ready to get excited about it and to be a part of that experience? Because really, and to my way of thinking, Celebration is one of the most fun things you can do as a Star Wars fan. People have asked me, what do you like better? Do you like Celebration better? Do you like Galaxy's Edge better? What do you think? Rick says, even if we are over the worst of it, there will still be some restrictions on large groups meeting. That's very possible. Erica's going. David Nicely is not going. Well, that does stink. David, we will certainly miss you. David, or Tom, or anybody, what do we think is going to happen at Indiana Comic-Con? Has that officially been canceled yet? I feel like that's going to be canceled. It seems like that's probably going to happen, unfortunately. You hate to see that, but I just don't know. I mean, and waiting to see what happens when you buy plane tickets, that's a good idea. There's actually an app that I would recommend for buying airline tickets, and it's called Hopper, Hopper. Hopper is an app that you can put in where you're going, how many people are with you, where you prefer to fly out of, and then you set up your notifications, and then it will let you know when it's the cheapest. In fact, you'll get pretty regular updates on your phone, and it will say, hey, here's the price now. You should buy it, or hey, here's the price now. I'd wait a couple of weeks, or we've seen cheaper ones in the meantime. Looks like Eric uses Hopper. So it's a really, really good option. But I will say, Memorial Day is a good yardstick for all this. Greg, that's probably true. We'll definitely see what happens with all of that. And then also for Celebration, if you, I hope, and of course, MEI sponsors the show. That's not a secret. But I think it's imperative to point out what travel agents are recommending is not canceling your trips, but rescheduling them or booking them through travel agents like MEI and Mount Fan Travel, and making sure that they take care of you, because they will. It's really, really, really a huge peace of mind. Because, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, with all the things going on, and just the world is very unique and very different right now. And that's where you want to go so that they can keep track of what's going on with the travel. They'll know when things are canceled. They'll know when things are getting cheaper, and they readjust bookings for you, which is really, really helpful. I know I feel better about celebration plans because I booked it through M9 Mouse Fan Travel, because then I don't have to worry about it. And you can buy flight insurance. I don't know if flight insurance covers what's going on now. Definitely read all of the fine print. I think that's pretty much a given anyway. Let's see. Okay, just looking at some more comments right here. Let's try this. On Pour Over, Corey and I, as I said earlier on this program here, is it a program? Sure. We talked about on Pour Over how what would be our dream panel, both that we could see and a dream panel that you can actually be a part of. In other words, you're on the stage. Whether you are the host or you're the person fielding the questions, what would be like the dream for you, the dream scenario? For me personally, I think I would love to host a one-on-one interview with Mark Hamill. I think that would be a blast. I think he would keep me on my toes, which is something I enjoy anyway. But I also think because he's so witty and so charming, and he's Luke Skywalker, of course, to me, that would be kind of the ultimate, to be able to be up there and chat with him and to pick his brain. And to me, whenever I interview people that have been interviewed lots and lots and lots of times, then one of the things that I try to do is challenge them. You know what I mean? Like challenge myself to a degree that I don't have to ask a question that they've heard a million times, because that's boring. That's not very, very fun. I don't think that is anything that's easy, by the way. Like when I first interviewed Steve Sansweet, one of my main goals, and I think one of the reasons that we actually were able to make that first one happen before he and I became buddies, is I wanted to ask him questions that he had never heard before. That's challenging. But really, when you think about it, like in my advice to you is if you're interviewing someone or start planning a podcast or have a podcast and you've got a big interview coming up, I would suggest talk to them like you would a friend. And of course, while still maintaining professionalism, and just sort of going with your gut about what you are interested in, because that's what people want to hear about. That's what people want to know. So it looks like we've got a few people weighing in about being at Celebration and panels. So David says, Hayden, Mark, and Daisy. Yes, that would be great. Now, would you want to host that, David, or do you want to just watch that? Or do you want to do both? Eric says a panel with the different Star Wars composers. That would be pretty magnificent. I mean, can you imagine if John Williams actually agreed to be a part of a panel? Oh man, that would be one of the top ones. Dave says the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary panel. I would certainly like that one as well. And I feel like that's probably one that's going to happen. It just makes sense. And then Aaron says that'd be cool. They'd probably end up groveling at their feet. Well, that's a pretty normal reaction, but I would highly suggest not doing that. Filoni, Ford, Lucas, and Eckstein. Oh my goodness, that would be great. And David, you say watch. Very good. And Tom would like to host a book panel. Well, of course. Wouldn't that be fun? Who would you want to be the authors, Tom, that you would be hosting? Would you want to have I think getting to interview Timothy Zahn would be pretty epic, since he's one of the people that's most responsible for what happened with like the world of Star Wars and fiction, as far as when he created Thrawn, right? And think about what a character Thrawn is and how much of an impact he has had on Star Wars and on fandom and things like that. Rick McCallum. Now, I wonder when the last time was that Rick McCallum was a part of Celebration. Probably right before Celebration Anaheim, I would think. So Brian says, I want to celebrate George Lucas and my birthday together. We share a birthday. How did I not know that, Brian? Or maybe I didn't. It's just been so long that I forgot. Wow. Sharing a birthday with George Lucas would be pretty epic. How's the lighting on here, by the way? I'm kind of adjusting the lighting a little bit. Too dark, too light. Let's see. Make it a little bit darker here. Appreciate you kind of bearing with me as we kind of guinea pig our way through this thing. I feel like that's a little too bright. There we go. That's probably okay. Another talk with Mark from Tops. He's a blast to have on. Yes, Mark Von Olen is an absolute blast. He is great. He's really accessible. And he's another person that is a massive Star Wars fan. He's a huge Star Wars fan. And it comes through in him being Mark, right? And he's got great stuff going on with Tops and Star Wars Authentics. And he's just a fun, charming guy anyway, which is really, really cool. Very, very good. Well, Eric, thank you. I was wondering about how the lighting was. I made it a little bit darker. Hopefully it's not too dark. So we'll see kind of what happens. Really, that's kind of the main things I want to talk about on tonight's show. My comments, I think, are showing up a little bit later than you're actually posting them. So it's a little bit harder. But hey, so what do you want to hear on the show this week? I mean, obviously, we're going to review the first episode with Ahsoka. I think that's going to be a blast. And then I'm thinking we're going to talk about The Rise of Skywalker and the great things on that Blu-ray or on the digital download. It's pretty staggering. It's really pretty amazing. In fact, that 2-hour documentary that shows kind of the making of this, the making of stuff, I think is really, really great. Anyway, Kurt says the lighting is not too dark. Lighting good. Very good. Thank you for that. On this bottom shelf here is my Return of the Jedi glasses. These are from the Burger King line back from 1983. But the ones above, let's see if I can do it here, is the Empire and Star Wars ones. Those are probably some of my absolute prizes of the collection. I love those Burger King glasses. I have so many good memories with those things. Art of the Rise of Skywalker book. Yes. That's one we're going to be talking about very, very soon as well. Clayton and I talked about it a little bit last week on the Friday show, but it is definitely a good one. There's a lot of cool stuff there. So, yeah, I think the documentary is really, really great. Did you see all the stuff with John Williams? And there's a great piece on John Williams on the documentary itself on the Blu-ray or the digital download extras. And the amount of care and detail and Easter eggs they put in his cameo is really, really staggering. Eric, you have the Jedi glasses too. They're awesome. I'm telling you, they're one of the prizes of my collection for sure. How far is everyone in the Rise of Skywalker novelization? That is a great question. I finished it, obviously, because I had to interview Ray Carson for StarWars.com. But it's so good. It's so good. It's kind of weird it's hard to say, but I mean, all the novels have a very different tone to them. I mean, they're obviously different stories, sure, but they're all written with a different kind of a style to them. And this one, it's obviously beautifully written. Ray Carson's a great writer, but it's just it's very character driven, more than description oriented. I feel like Alan Dean Foster's The Force Awakens was great, absolutely great, but it was very heavy. Very sort of Tolkien-esque as far as the descriptions, whereas Ray Carson just gets right to the inner conflict of all the main characters. And just for me personally, that's what I really, really like. Does it change my stance on the film? Does it smooth things out? No, it doesn't. I wish it did, but it doesn't. I mean, I am wearing my The Rise of Skywalker sweatshirt, of course, and I mean, I do love the movie, but I still maintain that it's my least favorite of all the Star Wars films. But again, that is not a pejorative. It does feel does the novel? Okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant does the documentary change what I feel about it? And Lisa says the audiobook was great too. I agree with that. It helps me enjoy the story more. The novelization does. Especially the extra stuff with Leia and Rey and what motivates her and kind of the psyche of Kylo Ren. It definitely is very captivating for me as far as that goes. I really enjoyed that quite a bit. In fact, I thought that was needed. Just the way that it was explained is very, very helpful. Yeah, there's some definite. No, that's okay. There's definitely some extra details there as well. Tell you what, I'm going to get a drink of water because I'm starting to lose my voice. Usually I have someone to banter with. So be right back. Put on some hold music or something. Okay, I am back. Look at that. A little iced tea. Tonight was the first night that we went out. Not we went out, or my son and I went to a drive-through, and it's kind of funny. It's just very, very weird. If you're playing a commercial for me, I mouse and careful. I should. As I get more advanced with how to figure this thing out, I'm absolutely going to do that. Tonight on Posters with Kenobi. Yeah, that's right. I do have all of the Star Wars movie posters, like in their original theater cuts. First, I bought them over the years, and then recently companies have been sending them to me, which is wonderful. So I have definitely enjoyed that. Now, the ones that I do, I go to a local store here in the Central Illinois area, and they cut the glass and they frame it, and then they do a dry mount on the back so that it's got that great quality, and it doesn't wrinkle or fray at all. So that's really, really nice. Right now, I've got, of course, A New Hope. I can't imagine ever taking that down. And I've got The Rise of Skywalker. Or no, I've got Revenge of the Sith over there as well. David says he is reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization, helping understand Anakin's downfall. Okay. The Revenge of the Sith novelization by Matthew Stover is literature. I mean, it's gorgeous. Now, literature, I guess, kind of takes on a lot of different names and meanings. But literature, what literature actually is language. It's how a story is told. Yes, you have to tell a story well to be considered literary, but literature in and of itself is the language. And Hobby Lobby does do posters, yes, Aaron. The language of how Revenge of the Sith is written is gorgeous, and Anakin's downfall is extremely Shakespearean. I certainly talked about that a lot over the years, but that is one to watch, or one to read, I guess I should say. But back to the Rise of Skywalker novelization, the way that Ray Carson is able to capture the humanity of all of the characters, and that's good. I feel like she fleshed out Finn quite a bit more as well, which I really appreciate. Eric says he's reading George Lucas' Life. Yes. Brian's book, George Lucas' Life, is great. In fact, you can go back through our catalog, and you can absolutely read or listen to my conversation with Brian J. Jones, the author of George Lucas' Life. He's an awesome guy, a good follow on Twitter, and that book is great. So Rick says, how about a discussion on a future episode about what small positives may come in the future for Star Wars and art in general? Adversity often brings out special work in people, and looking back, we may think this is a period where great writing came into being, or a musician, easy for me to say, writes a future classic album. This time of isolation, because the extra time required for many scripts to be rewritten and vastly improved. I absolutely agree with that. Elisa says she's enjoying it so much. Yeah, Elisa, great, and thank you for your service. Elisa had a great post earlier in the week on CWK Cafe. That was really awesome. So, yeah, I agree. What is going to come out of this that people are going to do? I'll tell you what. I've done a lot of stuff for Coffee with Kenobi that you've already seen or heard, and stuff that's going to happen later. I've had time to really kind of experiment with doing Facebook Live, and I've done a lot. And hopefully you're going to start seeing more and more improvement. This, by the way, is going to be a regular thing. I don't know if I made that clear enough or not. But yes, every Monday at 8 o'clock Central, even if I'm on the road, we're going to be doing CWK Live here in the CWK Cafe and on Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook page. LJ said, did Shakespeare write King Lear in quarantine? He did. And, we're done pretty good. It's really, really great. So I'm working on, I don't think I've ever said this, but of course I've written the Star Wars book with Pablo Hidalgo and Cole Horton, but I'm working on an ebook that I think is going to be really, really something that people are going to enjoy. I've been working on it for a while. Nice, LJ. I've been working on it for a while, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what all of you are going to think about it too. And Elise says she's enjoying the forum. I'm glad she found us. Well, great. We're glad that you're a part of it. Be sure to listen to our Coffee with Kenobi podcast now twice a week. Basically, I've been randomly changing the releases a little bit more just because, I'm experimenting. I'm trying to find different things. I mean, ultimately, what I want to happen is I want to give all of you an outlet, a good positive way. Or can you all still hear me? I haven't turned off my camera's still on, and the microphone's still working. So it all seems to be working really, really fine now. I'll tell you what, if it's not working, I guess I should probably consider wrapping it up. But a couple of key things. Oh, it's back. Good. While it was gone, Eric, could you still hear me the whole time? That would be interesting to see. It does do. There are a lot of options with some of these Facebook Live apps and applications, so it'll be interesting to see. Okay, so key things from tonight. You can hear me. Good. Oh, it just froze again. Well, all right. So if you can't hear me or not, key things from tonight. One, it seems like everybody understands that the movie business is a little bit different, but we all love Ashley as Ahsoka Tano. Rosario Dawson, just kind of wait and see. I mean, she's a good actress, obviously, but we trust Dave. Second, we're optimistic because it's so far away that Celebration will still be happening at the end of August, and that is certainly my hope and wish as well. Hello, Adam. Good to see you, man. Adam's got a great podcast from a certain point of view that I hope everybody listens to. It's really, really fun. And then different ideas for what kind of panels you'd want to see at Celebration as well. So that's going to do it for this week's Coffee with Kenobi Live in the CWK Cafe and Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook page. Make sure, of course, to subscribe to Coffee with Kenobi on the podcast, on any podcast catcher that you use, iTunes or what have you. Of course, Adam, my pleasure, buddy. Make sure to give us a review on iTunes. Obviously, 5-star review is great, but do whatever just be honest. Whatever you think we deserve, give us that kind of review. The more reviews you give on iTunes, the more people can hear us. And when they type in Star Wars, we'll be more likely to pop up, and then we can get more listeners, which would be great. Also, of course, you can find us all over social media. Obviously, you know about Facebook because you're here right now. I'm going to be working on some more videos. I'm working on the ebook, maybe more than one ebook. Who knows? There are a lot of things planned, and none of it happens without your support and your awesome friendships. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to get a drink one more time. Another thing we've learned about Coffee with Kenobi on Facebook Live is that Dan loses his voice from when he talks a lot. So we got that going for us, which is nice. So look for a new show tomorrow, a new show on Thursday, and we'll be back here next Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central. And hopefully there won't be any sort of bugs. May the force be with you guys. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep yourselves balanced and focused. This is a great time to take care of projects that you have around the house or things you've always wanted to try or things you've wanted to learn. This is an actual great opportunity to do those things. You want to start a blog, you want to start writing, you want to read more, you want to exercise, you want to start running, whatever. This is when you need to do it. I mean, use these opportunities to empower you, to tap into more of who you are and who you want to be. It's really the only way that we're going to get through this. I very much believe in it. You visualize how you want things to go and make them happen for yourself. Use this time wisely, tap into that creative passion inside of you and pour it out there because we want to see the great way that you look at the world, whether it's Star Wars or blogging or, really starting an active account on Instagram or any kind of social media. If you want to be an influencer, if you want to start marketing yourself, if you want to get in shape. I mean, tonight I did an exercise routine for a while and my son did every single one with me. And it was great because we were just connecting and having fun and having that opportunity to just, get memories together. So make great memories, make fun, and of course, throw some Star Wars in there every day or any kind of mythology that you respond to and enjoy. So thanks again, everybody, so much. Have a great rest of your night, and we will see you, of course, on Coffee with Kenobi on our podcast and right here next Monday on Coffee with Kenobi Facebook Live. Thanks so much, everybody. See you next week.